We grow flowers because we love them, but turning that business into profit can be really tricky because it's our passion. So I'm going to share with you my top 5 mistakes flower farmers make when starting out to help you not do all the things that I did as I started. Hi, my name's Amanda. Here at Humble Burdock Farms, we grow flowers because we love them, and we really want to help you connect to color, creativity, and of course nature. When I originally started flower farming 10 years ago, there was 2 other flower farmers that I could name in our entire province. And nowadays, 10 years later, there's a whole bunch, and I'm so excited. There is such opportunity for flowers to be grown here at home on our beautiful farmland and find different ways to work with them. But I think beginning, when I said there was only 3 of us, there wasn't a lot of resources I had access to. There wasn't a lot of Google forums or Facebook forums. It was really lonely. So if you ever wonder why I'm the person to tell you, it's because I made all of these mistakes. I've done them, and then I have to watch other people make the same ones. So I feel that it's time for me to share things that I've messed up on. So what's the first mistake a flower farmer can make? They grow too many plants. I know, it's really hard to tell math-wise. And then, because growing like 20 seedlings or 50 seedlings seems like a little bit, and then you kind of move it out into the field and you're like, oh crap, that's 100 feet of space. Times that by all the other trays in my greenhouse. So the best advice I can tell you is it's better to have quality over quantity. So taking better care of less plants is going to bring you more flowers than the ones you didn't weed and you ignored and you tried to kill. I feel like I'm talking to some of my plants personally. I'm sorry. So what's a great number? I would say anything that you know is going to be a popular cut flower. Maybe 20 of a type. And it depends too. Like if you've got, say you've got sunflowers and you want to grow 100 sunflowers at one time, making sure that your numbers add up to 100 at that one given time. So 20 of this variety, 20 of that variety that are both popular, 10 or 15 of a different new type, and then you continue on to 100. I work in flowers, not math. Right? So just making sure that you're not overextending yourself and your time, especially when you're working with flowers that you've never grown before and you're not quite sure how successful you're going to be at them. It's best to only do 10 or 15 plants because you don't feel bad if you've killed them all or you didn't weed them. It's okay. So that's the first rule. Don't grow too many plants. Because you really do lose money and resources and seeds if you just let them die, right? One time when I first started, I was growing celosia and I wanted lots of celosia. I had about 60 plants, I think, of one variety. And what's really interesting is that celosia all ripens at once. So all these flowers had to get cut at once, and I didn't do it, and then the seeds were dropping off them and I couldn't use them, so I wasted even that space in the ground. So just think about that first before you start planting. 10 really well-grown plants are going to produce more than 20 ill taken care of plants. I think it's good to talk about too, like some of the more popular flowers you're seeing, like ranunculus, which I grown to my peril for at least 5 years before I finally had the time to princess them as they deserved. But yeah, just thinking about the cost at the end of the day, like ranunculus are quite expensive to buy up front, so if you're not going to take care of them, don't even buy them, just wait another year. It's going to be great. You don't have to do everything in your first year, trust me. So that kind of rolls into our second mistake that flower farmers make, including myself. You spend too much money. I know, you knew this would be one, but the reality is like, right, you spend a lot of money on the ranunculus and then you kill them. So Do you need to buy them right off? Probably not. You really want those yellow peonies, but you realize the plants are $50 a piece. Do you need them? Probably not. As a professed plant geek, it's really hard for me to say no to plants and flowers of any kind. So learning to budget and be restrained sometimes can be quite difficult. So I do allow myself a little like wild card budget, just to kind of sample things and try different stuff. And a part of not spending too much money is trying to spend money on the seeds, because you'll think that you're saving money because you're growing perennials from seed, or Lisianthus. I buy Lisianthus already started for me because I kill them. I kill every single one because I have no patience to keep them watered for 20 weeks, 16 weeks before they get planted. I have a life. Maybe. But the reality is that maybe spending more on a plant versus wasting it on the seeds might be a better budget choice. So just think about that a little bit. And obviously, the next thing is not charging enough. I know when I started, I didn't have employees, I didn't have to charge tax because I was making under a certain amount, and money was flowing in and it was great. And then I had to start charging tax. So instead of changing my prices, I was like, oh, I have enough money, I'll just take it out of my bouquet price. And I drilled my business into the ground that year when I learned that I was not charging enough. Even if you're not charging HST at this point or some other sales tax, it's really important to think about that as you start progressing your business, because it can drain you. So, and then if you spend your money before you pay into your HST, you can really sink yourself into a vicious cycle. So I get my books done quarterly just to keep myself on top, because I know that having a $10,000 HST check that I owe at the end of the season is really painful. So I like to block it into chunks so that life's a little bit easier and you can kind of start expecting. When you start with payroll, there's a few different ways to get them, but you do have to budget for payroll and figure out what you're going to do and how much it's going to cost and how many hours, and is it better to have freelance or someone that's part-time or full-time. So it's really, and then you have to pay payroll taxes on top of those things, so it's really, it can get really tricky. And those are just some of the bigger things. When I was starting out, I spent so much money on things I didn't need. So many things I thought would save time, or, you know, I might need it in the future, like even going to a yard sale and buying up some okay vases. It's nice once, but when I realized I did that all summer, and I have all these vases that I'm never going to use, I wasted a lot of money that way. But this is why we have this video, so you can learn from me. So if you're learning anything right now, comment below and tell me. If you made a mistake that you want to share about your cut flower farm, tell us below. Knowledge is everything for our future generations. So one of my favorite mistakes that I made, I had no life. Being raised on a farm doesn't necessarily make for anything less than a workaholic, let's be honest. So I didn't really make time for myself. I just worked from 7 in the morning till 7 at night, kind of 7 days a week. So while that's really good for some periods of a busy schedule, it's not a lifelong choice. Because let's be real, as you get older, your body ain't what it used to be. You go slower, you work, right? And you need to be working smarter, not harder. So when you start in the beginning, making sure that you have certain days off or certain time periods off, it makes it easier for you to get used to that. Especially when I had kids, I had to prioritize and figure out what was important. What's more important, cutting flowers for money or getting the weeding done? And you can tell by some of the pictures I don't show that I definitely didn't choose the weeding in the perennial beds. But But that's okay. It's learning about prioritizing and not burning yourself out after a long season. So make time for yourself. Go to that beach. I don't care if it's summer. You go to the beach, or you go to the library, or you have some fun. And this is when we watch the giant airplane go by because all of the tractors was not enough. So apart from having no life, apart from spending too much money, not charging enough, and growing too many plants, these are really great pieces to begin with. And if you're interested in more of the growing aspect of flower farming, I definitely say check out my book, From Seed to Centerpiece, A Floral Journey Through the Seasons. It is linked below so you can find it, but it really helps with the growing and planning and thinking about the seasons as they go. And it also has beautiful photographs. So anyway, so our final mistake that you didn't even know that you're probably doing right now is we spend too much time on social media getting jealous of everybody else. I know it doesn't seem real, but it's one of those dark secrets flower farmers especially never talk about. It's like, it's our deep dark secret that we're jealous of people who have been growing flowers for a lot longer than us, or they have access to cooler flowers, or somehow their gardens look really well weeded and ours are full of milkweed. Social media doesn't always feel as supportive as it should, and it's just because we have to watch out what we're looking at all the time. I want to feel inspired by other flower farmers, but I have gotten to the point, not because I don't love you all, I don't watch what everyone's doing. I don't keep on top of that because I just want them to bloom themselves. I don't want to feel critical. I don't want to feel angst. I don't want to feel worried that I'm not competitive enough, or I'm not charging enough, or blah, blah, blah. That's why I don't look as much flower stuff as I once did. Right? Because it helps protect me into a little bubble. So I do recommend you unfollow some stuff just to keep yourself feeling great, right? You need to feel supported and not jealous of what your neighbors are doing. Celebrate all of the aspects of growing your own flowers and business. Celebrate your little seedlings and celebrate everything. Some people are really great at this on social media, and I've never been because I'm an introvert. So trying to just remind myself that I'm passionate about one thing helps me not focus on what everyone else is doing. Right? Does that feel good now? Does that feel good? You bet it does. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Subscribe! We have new videos each Tuesday. Make sure you hit like, comment below, send it to your Aunt Agnes, and